Hello! Right, sorry I'm not in the lesson today. However, I think we can work through most of the things we need to do like today virtually. So let's just have a look at our first slide. What I'm going to get you to do now is a bit of a starter activity, is to open up your books, get your knowledge organiser out, and just, I guess you can't cover it with your book, so cover it with your hand. Okay. What I'd like you to do is just cover up the literacy section of your knowledge organiser and just have a quick read. Which of those words do you know? Now, we've discussed some of them and you probably knew some of them already. So I'm going to give you a bit of time now. Go through any that you don't know, uncover. All right, have a look at the answer, but see if you can go through a couple of times and test yourself. So this will be an individual activity. So if I can ask the cover teacher to pause it here and give the students as long as it takes them to do it. Thank you. Right, today's lesson is all about writing a children's story. So you've thought about your characters already last lesson. Today I'm going to give you a bit of time to think about your story. But I guess we're going to spend a lot of time doing the illustrations on Photoshop. It'd be a shame if the story wasn't up to scratch. We need a story that's going to be satisfying for someone to read. And so I'm going to read you a story now. I'm going to read you what I consider to be a bad story. Right, now this was written by students at the school, but they're a bit older now. They won't mind. Now, the pictures are not quite the same quality as you'll be doing. This group of students didn't use Photoshop. I'm going to talk you through what I think is a bad story, and I'm going to get you to think about why it's a bad story. So let me make myself disappear off the screen. All right, and brace yourselves. If you're sitting comfortably, then I'll begin. Stewie is at home in his house and he gets bored while watching TV. Stewie leaves his house. Pikachu sees Stewie and decides to eat Stewie. Pikachu going to park. Sonic playing catch with Stewie. Pikachu prepares to ambush Stewie. Pikachu bites Sonic and Stewie gets bored and walks off. I know what you're thinking. Right, Stewie is swinging on the swings. Homer starts to push Stewie on the swings. Pikachu tries to electrocute Stewie but hits Homer. Stewie gets bored and walks off. Stewie is on the slide. Pikachu is at bottom of the slide, but Peter steps on him. Stewie is swimming in the lake. Sharky appears from the lake. Right, ladies and gents. Now, I think you should be able to tell how this story ends, but I'm going to put quite a lot of money on the fact that you won't guess quite how this story ends. And I feel, obviously, you've already spotted that there's electrocution, there's death, there's there's characters from adult cartoons, so that's not much good for kids, is it? And it's not a very satisfying story. There is a bit of there's a story. Stewie's going on a wander through the park, but it's just a bit too random. It doesn't feel like it's going anywhere, and believe me, it's not going anywhere. So let's finish the story. Let's have a look. All right, what happens next? Well, Sharky spits Pikachu into space. Pikachu flying into space. Pikachu flying into UFO. Big bang, the end. All right, so look, you can tell it's not a very satisfying story, is it? So we're not gonna do a story like this. We need to think carefully about the story arc, like the point of the story. It should maybe have a problem at the start that by the end of it is solved. All right, there has to be a point to the story. Although, all right, you probably giggle to yourself whilst you listen to that, but probably for the wrong reasons. So, what would a story arc be? I'm just going to show you this. This is how Pixar present their ideas for a film. So, if anyone at Pixar wants to come up with a film, they have to present it with these headings. All right, so let's just think about this. Now, if we're in the lesson, I'd show you a video of someone talking this through for Finding Nemo, I've not seen Finding Nemo much. However, I have seen Toy Story. So listen up. Once upon a time, there was a toy called Woody. Every day, Woody and Andy played in the bedroom. Woody was Andy's favourite toy. Until one day, a new toy arrives. It's Andy's birthday. A new toy arrives, and he's got lasers and lights and he can fly. He's a space ranger, and because of that, Woody's jealous. And because of that, well, you know what happens. A spoiler alert. Buzz goes out the window and they decide they have to rescue him. So there's a story there, isn't there? Something bad has happened and they need to fix it. There's a bit of a story arc here. Woody's like a really jealous character. In fact, Pixar movies, they kind of all have this same thing where the main character has some sort of character flaw, but then that's solved and they're all friends by the end of it. So I'm thinking like in Cars, we have, don't we have like Lightning McQueen is like really arrogant and he doesn't need anyone else, but by the end of it he decides he needs his pit crew and everything. Up, there's a grumpy old guy that hates kids, but by the end of it, you know, he's loving spending time with that slightly annoying Boy Scout. Right? So I want you to have a think about your story arc. So I'm going to stop the video in a minute and see if you can think about like what story, and you can totally steal stories. Okay, what story could you steal from elsewhere? Or what idea for a story have you got? So there's a problem at the beginning, or something happens, there's an adventure, and then everyone learns something from the end. So there's a pro forma that's going to come out to you now. Right, if I pause the video a minute here, I'll be able to jump forward. You don't have to pause, hold on, I'm going to jump forward and find that slide with it on. There you go, just like that. I found it, okay? It all crashed on me, actually, it took me ages. But for you, it was an instantaneous. So you'll have a worksheet that looks something like this, and I want you as a team now to start thinking about how's the story going to start? So have you got an idea for the start? And have you got an idea for an end? Where's the story going? So I'm going to get you to pause the video now and give you about 5 minutes or so to scribble your first ideas down here. Hold on. Who's going to scribble? Who's going to scribble this down? The team captain is. So what I want you to do is nominate a team captain. Hold on. Hold on. Before you all point at each other, I can tell you're doing it. All right. Stop pointing. All right. Before you all point at each other, just explain the team captain is going to be the person who takes this story home and types it up into Google Classroom. Not today, next week, don't worry. Perhaps even works with their parents to make it a little bit better. All right, so if you think, yeah, I'll sit down with my parents maybe and we'll go through this and I can type it up at home, I've got a laptop or whatever, then perhaps you could be the team captain. So decide who's going to be the team captain, and if the cover teacher can give you 5 minutes, maybe up to 10 minutes, to start thinking about your story, okay? I'll pause this video. In about 10 minutes' time, I'm going to come back and read to you a much better story. Go on, off you go. Right, I'm back. Okay, what's happening? Oh, I'm going to read you a good story, aren't I? So, let's have a look at the good story. So, this one, again, is written by students. The drawings are a little bit better, but again, not as good as what yours are going to be. So, here we go. Oh, sorry. If you're sitting comfortably, then I'll begin. Come on, get comfortable. Not too comfortable. Right, here we go. Henry felt lonely in the river by himself, so he decided to go in the jungle and find some friends. Let's go with him. On his journey, he met Tim the tiger. Hello, Tim. I'm not doing the voices. Hello, Tim. Do you want to play in the river? Tim shook his head and said, no way. I'm off to go and find my prey. And off Henry went. On his journey, he met Marvin the monkey. Hey, Marvin, do you want to come and play with me? Marvin shook his head and said, no, not for me. I'm swinging in this big tall tree. And off Henry went. On his journey, he met an elephant called Ellie. Hey, Ellie, do you want to play a game of footy? Ellie shook her head and said, I don't want to. I've got a bad cold. Tissue. And off Henry went. Right, so why do I think that's a better story already? And can you guess the ending? Right, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes. You don't have to pause the video. I'm just going to stay quiet for 60 seconds or so, and then I'll come back on. I'm going to give you a minute or so to just discuss why you think that's better and how the story might end. Right, off you go. Right, okay. Let's have everyone finish your conversation and look in this way, please, in 5, 4. This is really weird doing a lesson on a video like this. Not sure I'll ever do it again. 3, where did I get to? 3, 2, look in this way, pens down, and 1. Can't see you. You could be doing anything for all I know. But anyway, I'm taking you looking this way. Okay, so let's finish the story. So Henry went home with a very sad face. After all, he'd been walking all over the place. But suddenly he heard a voice from somewhere. He went to look, and right there was a hippo he'd never seen. Henry hoped she wasn't mean. "Hello there, do you want to be my friend?" "Okay then," she said, "until the day is at an end." Ah, isn't that nice? So, look, they're in love. They've only just met. You can tell they're in love. They've got love hearts in their eyes. Although she said, "Yeah, I'll be your boyfriend, but only till tea time, by the looks of it, until the day is at an end." She must have another hippo coming by after tea. So, that was obviously a better ending. Okay, it went somewhere. Honestly, I kind of want to change this story. I feel like it would have been a better story if, like, he woke up and it was his birthday, but none of his friends had time to play with him, but they were all carrying things like balloons, and one was carrying a cake, and maybe one was carrying a karaoke machine, maybe. That would be cool. But at the end, it's like, oh, they were all doing a surprise party for him. Okay, so, there's definitely room to improve that story, but it's pretty good. Okay, right. I'm going to give you a bit more time now to work on your story, maybe another 5 minutes or so. So if the cover teacher can give you another 5 minutes or so, and then I'll come back on and we're going to talk about doing some drawings with some fine liners. Okay, more about that later. Right, 5 minutes, off you go. Right, welcome back. I have no idea how much longer of the lesson we've got, but what we're going to do now is have a quick look at your homework. So you should have with you today the cartoons that you went home to draw, your cartoon characters. So I'm going to give you a bit of time now to do a bit of a round robin. Take it in turns on your table to hold your homework up and just explain, like, here's what I've drawn. Okay, I think this dog or whatever, this bit of super broccoli is the best. And then maybe get some feedback from your team. So if you can go around the table, okay. And when you've finished and you've gone around the table, can you then go and grab a piece of A4 paper from the paper drawer at the front of the classroom? And you need one of each of the fine liners that are in the room somewhere, right? So there's a thick and a thin one, like 2 different fine liner racks. All right, so would you go and get those? That'll let the cover teacher know you've finished and you're ready to move on. So when everyone's got their bit of paper and the fine liners, then you can restart the video. All right, so off you go. If you've only got like 5 more minutes left of the lesson because it's taken ages to get this far, then it's probably not worth starting. You can have more time to write your story. But if you've got a good 10, 15 minutes left, then have a go at doing these drawings. Okay, right, I'm going to pause. All right, you're going to show off what you've done and then go and grab a piece of A4 paper and some fine liners. Right, I'm back. Right, it's recording. Okay, so let's just have a look at these pictures. What I'm going to get you to draw is draw with a fine liner your cartoon really neatly. Okay, now there's a few things we have to bear in mind when you do it. We can't like trace over pencil. It needs to be drawn neatly onto a piece of paper because you can't seem to rub the pencil out enough. It shows up when we scan it in on Photoshop. So you're going to use these fine liners because you get a nice black image. Right, so I've given you 2 ones. I recommend you draw with the finer one first and then maybe go around the outside with a darker one, so you have a mixture of thin lines on the inside of your drawing and thicker lines around the outside of your drawing. Okay, now let's just have a look at this this baby here. Okay, it's been working out, hasn't it? Now we're going to scan that in on the computer, and we're going to use the paint cam, the fill cam, to like click on the dummy in its mouth and fill it red, and then click on the bow, and it hasn't got any hair, has it? The bow that's been stapled to the top of his head, and fill that maybe whatever colour. All right, so bearing that in mind, that baby, despite what you might think of it, is actually a pretty good drawing, because when I fill it, there's no lines that are missing. That means when I fill it with the skin colour, that the skin fills the whole page. Whereas let's have a look at the tree trunk next to it. All right, if we have a look at that tree trunk, if I clicked in the middle of the tree, like a brown colour, okay, so if I clicked in here with a brown colour, then what would happen? The brown would fill all of the tree, and then it would leak out the bottom of the tree trunk and fill all the background, and it would fill in all around these leaves. Same with the leaves at the top. If I filled green around them, they'd fill the whole page. So you need to make sure that every shape you draw on your character is closed. All right. So when we start clicking on filling it with the paint can, then it doesn't fill the whole page. So let's just have another look at the next slide. Let me just jump to the next slide. Where's my mouse gone? There we go. So on this next slide, we've got a fox. Now that fox there is way too tiny. Right, so that's there to show you that you need to have your drawing fill about half an A4 page. That would be perfect. So that's too small. So if we were to drag it up big to go on the front cover of your book, I got a feeling it would look a bit pixely and it wouldn't look very good quality. The girl next door, however, she does look good. But can you see anywhere where there's an issue with her, with the lines not being closed? I mean, her nails might be a bit of a nightmare to fill, but there's only 10 of them, isn't there? So, oh, hold on. Yeah, 10 fingers. Cartoons shouldn't have 10 fingers, should they? No cartoon has like 5 fingers on each hand. They always have 3 fingers and a thumb, like The Simpsons, Family Guy, everyone. Okay. Otherwise, they start looking like this. Those ones there look a bit like a bit of a bunch of bananas. They don't look quite right. So yeah, three fingers and a thumb for cartoons. All right, true fact. But no, look at her eyes. Her eyes are, yeah, if we filled the white of her eyes, it would leak into her face, wouldn't it? There's a line missing. But otherwise, it's a pretty good drawing. Okay. Right, so what you're going to do for the last part of the lesson is you're on A4 paper, you're going to start drawing neatly your cartoons to scan in, so the best ones for your page. We'll scan them in later. At the end of the lesson, can you put them back in your plastic wallets with your books, and everything goes back in the cupboard? All right, so I'm not going to say anything else today. You're just going to work on that till the end of the lesson. All right, and I look forward to seeing some of your perfectly drawn cartoon characters next lesson. Right, we'll have time to finish them. Don't rush. We'll have time to finish them next time. Don't panic. Okay, right. I'm going to disappear for a while. I'm going to disappear till next lesson, actually. So good luck with everything. All right.